surreal. It's surreal. So we're gonna go ahead and start this one here. Today is uh, the anniversary of 9/11, the September 11th attacks back in 2001. Um, it's been 20 years, 20 years, and after 20 years, President Biden has announced that we were going to be having a complete withdrawal from Afghanistan, and it's been a debacle to say the least, or kerfuffle, or a blunder, a tragedy. What's going on in Afghanistan right now, and how it all unfolded. But uh, with all that being said, it needed to happen. And there's people saying that, well, no matter when it happened, it was going to happen. Something like it was going to happen. So it's like ripping the band-aid off, right? You know what I'm saying? So of course, maybe things could have been planned out better. Maybe there could have been other possible ways of going about it. But needless to say, it needed to be done. But today is the day of remembering. I don't want to get into too much of any like crazy conspiracy theories or blaming or anything like that. I want to keep this one light. Um, I tried to do a live. Well, I did a live yesterday, and it was like an hour and a half, almost long. And I want to keep this one a lot shorter because I don't know how much battery or life or juice I have on this phone. That's how I'm doing these lives. I don't have like a camera set up yet, so it's just me and my phone talking. So we'll keep this one short, folks. Like I said, today is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit from ABC 7 News because they have the details of what I want to talk about here. It says the 9/11 terror attacks were the deadliest ever to occur on American soil. On that Tuesday in September 2001, 19 members of the Islamic extremist group Al Qaeda coordinated attacks using hijacked U.S. airlines. The group of terrorists deliberately crashed two airplanes into the north and south towers of the World Trade Centers and a third plane into the Pentagon. The fourth flight crash landed in a Shanksville, Pennsylvania field. It is believed that the hijackers crashed the plane in that location rather than their unknown target after the passengers and crew attempted to retake control of the flight deck. Nearly 3,000 people were killed on that day, a day that will never be forgotten in the hearts of the American people. Again, that was from ABC 7news.com. And they give some more stats here of the victims. It says, here's a look back at the September 11th attacks by the numbers. 2,977 people were killed, and countless more suffered serious injuries and long-term health issues. 2,753 of those people died at the World Trade Center site. 343 of them were New York City firefighters. 23 of them were NYPD officers. 37 were police officers from the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. 184 people were killed when American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon. 40 people were killed on United Airlines Flight 93 that crashed near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Countless victims and first responders are still dying due to the 9/11 related illnesses. The victims ranged in age from 2 years old to 85 years old. Approximately 75 to 80% of the victims were men. Interesting enough. As of 2021, 1,647, that's 60% of 2,753 World Trade Center victims' remains have been positively identified, according to the medical examiner's office. Two new identifications of victims, Dorothy Morgan and a man whose name is being withheld at the request of his family, were announced September 7th, 2021. Just, what is that? A few days ago. It says more facts here. 19 men hijacked 4 planes. Now, of course, they say there was about, I think there was like 26 conspirators is what is how they described it, but there were actually 19 men who were hijackers. Excuse the noise outside. I live in a ghetto. Trash truck. But the estimated economic loss during the first 2 to 4 weeks after the World Trade Center towers collapsed was $123 billion. It took 3.1 million hours of labor to clean up 1.8 million tons of debris at ground zero. Cleanup officially ended May 30th of 2002. So, and again, that's from ABC7news.com. Just some of the details, some of the numbers about what happened there as far as the victims goes in our country, in America. Now, we all know the repercussions of this day. We all know the repercussions of these attacks on our soil. 20 years of nonstop war in Afghanistan and then Iraq. Um, so they actually bring up something interesting, and I wanted to talk about this, if only briefly, because I don't want to get too into it. But WikiLeaks tweeted earlier, what was this, about 8 a.m. this morning, in quotations, while in the United States, some of the September 11th hijackers were in contact with and received support or assistance from individuals who may be connected to the Saudi government. This is coming from declassified pages of the 9/11 Commission report that was written up December of 2002. So WikiLeaks posted this this morning, and they give you the link to these declassified pages in which you can read it for yourself. So if you guys are interested, WikiLeaks has posted that. And of course, we all know that 19, or not 19, it was good. What was it? 11 of them? 11 of those people, the hijackers were actually from Saudi Arabia. There was a good amount. There was a good amount. So we already knew that information, but they're saying here that they may, in fact, they may have been in contact with people in the Saudi government. So they're using may there. Hey Pat, how you doing? Yeah, yeah, we're going live. We're live today. We're live today. We're remembering 9/11. Going over some of the details. I just announced that WikiLeaks has tweeted that some of the hijackers were or may have been in contact with the Saudi government. But of course, this is information that we've speculated before. It just, and it goes to show you that it doesn't matter. Like the most of them came from Saudi Arabia, but there was no, real repercussions of Saudi Arabia, like to Saudi, or you know what I'm saying, like there nothing happened. Like they're just our allies, so I guess it's okay. So that's what it is. Also, what they use to get us into these wars, and I've mentioned this before on my channel, the presidential war powers is actually, I wanted to get into that as well. They actually were talking about this. This is from Yahoo News. It says crisis in Afghanistan, and of course this is from August 19th. This is from August 19th of this year. Crisis in Afghanistan puts spotlight on presidential war powers. The rapid Taliban takeover in Afghanistan has put a new spotlight on presidential war powers that Congress has suddenly become eager to revoke. Republicans and Democrats say the lack of a coherent strategy in Afghanistan is partly to blame for the Taliban takeover, which has put thousands of trapped Americans and Afghan allies at risk. The U.S. military operations in Afghanistan were first authorized by a near unanimous vote of Congress in the days following the 9/11 terrorist attacks, because it's all too easy to have a near unanimous consensus when something like this happens. It's all too easy for them to use instances like this and horrible tragedies in order to revoke our rights, or in order to spy on us, in order to take away our freedoms. But here we go. 2 decades later, lawmakers in both parties lament not reining in their original authorization for use of military force, first granted to President George W. Bush and used by the 3 subsequent presidential administrations to continue an increasingly ill-defined mission in Afghanistan. The U.S. mission in Afghanistan morphed into a nation-building project that was well beyond the scope authorized in the 2001 AUMF, Senator Ben Cardin, a Maryland Democrat, told the Washington Examiner. Cardin is among a group of lawmakers who have long sought to revise the AUMF with a more defined strategy for countering terrorism in Afghanistan and the surrounding region. But Cardin noted Congress has resisted rescinding the AUMF. Accordingly, the U.S. found itself drawn inexorably into an open-ended commitment to bolster a government and a military that did not share our goals for their self-sufficiency, Cardin said. The government basically just gave up, is what the consensus is, what they're saying. I think one of the leaders of the Afghan government came out and basically apologized. Hey, we're sorry. Like, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. We're not fighting. So the Taliban had no issues taking back control of Afghanistan, and that's just what it is. And now they have a bunch of our toys. Now they got a bunch of weapons. They got helicopters. They don't know how to fly. They're sitting over there doing donuts and ghost riding the helicopters because they don't know what they're doing. But they have all of these at their disposal now. Representative Chip Roy, Texas Republican, told the Washington Examiner he believes the unfolding crisis in Afghanistan could have been avoided if Congress and the White House had hammered out a new AUMF that defined the U.S. military mission, including how many troops to keep stationed in the country, because we can never leave. Wherever we go, we can never leave, apparently. And there's people that actually believe this, like that they believe that, if it, and it does, it makes you think, and it does kind of, that they use that propaganda against us because they make you think that, well, if a terrorist gets their hands on a nuke or something like that, there will be something that happens against America. There will be a worse 9/11. So that because we know this, it makes us, or makes some people justify us being in countries forever. We have to be in countries forever because of the threat of actions against us from terrorists. Let's see, Lone Star Indy. How about all those war criminals at the 9/11 memorial this morning when they all should be behind bars? Example, presidential warmonger or press warmonger get together. Ex-press warmonger get together. Oh, ex-press, yeah, exactly. And no repercussions for them. All the people that got us into these wars that are responsible for how many deaths, how many thousands or millions of people died, not just in our country, but overseas mostly. Overseas mostly, you know what I'm saying? Pat Hacker says, we gave them uniforms too, so now they look just like our troops. Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? So let's continue here about the presidential war powers here. Now more than ever, the U.S. Congress should debate and decide and speak with clarity as to what our authorization of force is or is not with respect to any of the conflicts in the Middle East, Roy said. Not just in Afghanistan, but in the region in general. Lawmakers have been hesitant when it comes to authorizing new war powers, even if it means refining an old AUMF. In 2013, President Barack Obama abandoned a planned military strike against Syria in response to a chemical weapons attack. Instead, he sought authorization for the move from Congress. I remember that. That was about his the red line, wasn't it? Wasn't it about Obama's red line, and people were mad that he didn't cross the red line and he actually didn't attack or something like that? Well, lawmakers refused to take up an AUMF, all while approving roughly $2 trillion over 2 decades in Afghanistan. I actually watched a video today by Lee Camp in which he said that basically that not only do we have trillions of dollars unaccounted for, but we've spent trillions of dollars just, in these nonstop wars, so they're knowingly using trillions of dollars and unknowingly using trillions of dollars for nonstop death and destruction. Let me see here. Neither the Republican-led House nor the Democrat-run Senate would bring up a resolution, which was considered political poison after the 2006 elections that cost Republicans the House majority, partly because of strong voter anti-war sentiment. Lawmakers in both parties rejected a draft AUMF resolution sent by Obama in February 2015 seeking permission to attack Islamic State militants. Democrats thought it went too far in involving U.S. military in another overseas fight, while Republicans said the plan was too restrictive for the military to carry out the mission effectively. But 2 decades after wars began in Afghanistan and Iraq, lawmakers are increasingly willing to vote on the matter. In June, the House voted to revoke the 2002 authority granted by Congress to conduct the war in Iraq. The Senate will take up a similar bill sometime this year. Senate Majority Leader and New York Democrat Chuck Schumer have pledged there are no plans to replace the Iraq AUMF. Lawmakers in Biden believe the 2002 authorization is no longer needed because after 20 years, authorization is no longer needed because the U.S. military fight in Iraq ended long ago. Democrats were also eager to end the AUMF after then President Donald Trump used it to authorize the January 2020 drone strike, the killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, a top commander who targeted Americans. But lawmakers and Biden do not appear to support simply revoking the 2001 Afghanistan AUMF and instead believe it must be revised. Biden signaled in March he is willing to work with Congress to rewrite the 2001 authority to fit a narrow and specific framework, according to White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. The Biden administration praised Congress after the House voted to repeal the 2002 AUMF. Regarding future action to rein in other authorities, the administration said it seeks to ensure that the Congress has a clear and thorough understanding of the effect of any such action and the threats facing U.S. forces, personnel, and interests around the world. It urged leaving the executive branch with the clear authority to address threats to the United States national interests with appropriately decisive and effective military action. I hate this mealy mouth, vague language that they use. It's really annoying, and it just opens up the door to a bunch of devastating crap. Lawmakers of both parties have criticized Biden's strategy for withdrawing troops from Afghanistan and the resulting debacle. Three Democratic-run Senate committees plan to hold hearings to examine what went wrong. Both parties have pinned the blame on Biden, while Democrats say past presidents are also responsible. I'm also disappointed that the Biden administration clearly did not accurately assess the implications of a rapid U.S. withdrawal, said Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Menendez, a New Jersey Democrat. We are now witnessing the horrifying results of many years of policy and intelligence failures. Roy said if Congress had acted to revise the Afghanistan War Authority, the U.S. could have carried out a smoother withdrawal. That's what they say, but a lot of people are saying that no matter how we did this, it was going to happen. I mean, if the Afghani government is not willing to fight, then what are we doing? We can't fight for them. We can't be in the business of nation building, a nation that doesn't want to be built, wasting our money, wasting our time and our efforts while we have citizens here in America that need nation build. That we could rebuild our nation, though. Sounds like a better idea, All right, last paragraph here. Had we done that 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years ago, we'd be in a much better place right now and could have had a strategy going forward with respect to Afghanistan, Roy said. That is the problem. The U.S. Congress hasn't spoken other than to throw money at Afghanistan since 2001. Again, this is from news.yahoo.com, just going over the presidential wartime powers or presidential war powers that they're trying to get rid of. Honestly, do we think that they need something like this in order to, it seems like they pick and choose which laws to obey, how to interpret the Constitution. And then sometimes they just straight up go against it and just say, well, hey, we know this is going against it, but this will buy time, so they really pick and choose what they want to do with these kind of things, but here we go, folks. So many people have lost their lives because of so-called democracy or spreading democracy or nation building, and there's been a lot of talk. And like I said, I don't want to get into the weeds of all the theories out there. I don't want to get into all of that. I will say one thing. It was very strange, and a lot of people thought it was very strange how the towers collapsed. And there was even like a group of architects and construction workers or something like that. It was like 3,400 of them that actually came out and spoke out against that specifically, saying that there's no way that the buildings collapse like that, liken it to a controlled demolition. Liken it to a controlled demolition. So, yeah, and it was devastating, super devastating. I remember, I was too young to really know all the details and know exactly what was going on because I was like in the 6th or 7th grade at the time. But I remember being at school and it like everybody was tripping out because it was like, we're being attacked. And just seeing the planes go into the buildings, it was like a movie, it was crazy. It's still crazy to watch, knowing that so many people were jumping out of windows. Who knows? Hoping, praying, wishing for something, for somebody to catch them, for them to catch a hold of something on the way down. But Yeah, like that's horrifying to really think about. I'm gonna go into some of your comments here. Let's see. Pat Hacker says, a long story short, I remember, but I have also watched as the agenda continued, and it seemed like a century they have been playing with us. Let me go back up here. Long story short, good looking on the super chat. Feels like yesterday I was driving on the Loop Parkway, watching the smoke from the buildings on my way to work. Wow, wow. Oh, so you're from New York. A long story short. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Great Goblin says all by design. DOD had target on Afghan before IX, XI was slash billionaires made banks. Let's see. What? See, I don't get Roman numeral. What is that? Building. Great Goblin said building VII. What's VII? Didn't detonate itself. Let me see. Pat Hager says it was amazing how they collapsed and interesting how they dealt with the rubble they removed, almost like they were destroying evidence. 7. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So there's a lot to be said about what happened, who was responsible. Oh, that the room. Okay, that was a. Yeah, yeah. Building 7 didn't detonate itself. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't get Roman numeral. I missed that part of class, but yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, and people like to get at George W. Bush of the way he handled it, and it's a big mess. It was a big mess, but I mean, like I said, I don't want to get into the conspiracy theories too much because it you can go to other people for that study this. There's people that have studied it for years, and they have so much information on this stuff, and I just want to really focus on the moment itself. The moment itself, whether we think it was orchestrated by whoever. The facts are the facts. Most of those guys were from Saudi Arabia, so it's funny. It's not funny, but it's strange. But yeah, 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 yeah. Let's jump off of that real quick, folks. But yeah, one thing I do want to say before we jump off is shout out to all the firefighters. Shout out to all the policemen. Shout out to all the medical professionals. Shout out to all the people who ran into those buildings. Shout out to all the people who helped. Shout out to all the people who were affected, like directly and even indirectly affected by what happened 20 years ago now. 20 years. And we're just now getting out of Afghanistan. And now, what's going on with Iraq? What's going on with Somalia? What's going on with Syria? What's going on with all of these other countries, that we're still carrying out military action in? That we're still drone striking, like drone strikes, like they kill innocent civilians. There was just the story that came out. I mentioned earlier how we killed more children. Like, what was it, like 4 children, in this recent drone strike. So it's like we have to be careful how we respond to incidents such as these. And I understand that, we were attacked. And there's some people that feel like we were attacked, so that therefore that something had to be done. And a lot of people say, well, it sent a clear message that, hey, if you attack us like this, we'll be in your backyard and your front yard for 20 plus years, demolishing and murdering and carrying out terrorist attacks of our own. But then, war is never the answer, folks. War is never the answer. And then look what happened. Look at the result. Look at the result of every single place that we've been. It's never good. It's never good. They never end up good. Look at Libya. Look at Afghanistan. The Taliban took it over within like a week. Like it's a big mess, folks. It's a big. We're in all these different countries carrying out these mass atrocities, and we're just acting like we're the best country on the face of the planet. And like I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's see. Whatever man says, check out Lee Camp and Graham's latest government secrets for the Building 7. Luke Bird 123 says, shout out to Gander, Newfoundland in Canada that took 7,000 airline passengers when all the aircraft were grounded. The people of small town Gander fed, housed, and clothed all those people. All right, shout out. So yeah, we have all of these things going on, and I wanted to bring attention to one of the last things I want to talk about here, And that is something called, it's a movement that just started not too long ago. And you probably already know what I'm talking about. But it's called End the Damn Wars. End the Damn Wars. I love it. I love it. End the damn wars. I mean, what is the movement about? Ending the damn wars. You know, like you can have the opinion of, you know, I love my country. I'm a patriot of my country. I love my country. I love certain aspects of my country, but I hate certain aspects of my country. I love my country, but damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I specifically wore this shirt today to remember, to show that you can have two opinions. You can love your country, but not love everything your country does and is responsible for in your name. In your name. So we have this movement called End the Damn Wars. I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. You guys can listen to the audio of it, and you guys let me know what you think. I think it's awesome. They marched today in Washington D.C. Washington D.C. My dad actually moved out to the East Coast, so maybe one day you guys might catch me at one of these rallies if I ever make my way over to the East Coast. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this here. Oh, first of all, let me go ahead and like this video because that's how we show support. We go ahead and like the videos, and we leave a message of encouragement in the comments section. So we'll say, yes, end the damn wars! Exclamation mark. Thank you for this. Boom. It doesn't have to be a super crazy comment. You just leave a comment on their page, on their channel. You know, show your support, show the YouTube algorithm, you know, so the YouTube algorithm can mess with us. And we'll go ahead and play this because I think it's great, and it's something that I think we all should be getting behind because this is what we're missing. This is what we've been missing, a real anti-war movement. The people heard that, and now they're delivering. This is what I'm talking about. This is organizing. This is protesting. This is peaceful resistance. This is action. I love it. I love it. Some of the people, notable people here are, as I mentioned in the title, like Max Blumenthal, also Andrew Zygmunt from Action for Assange. Franco Analysis was there as well. Who else was there? There's a few people there, a lot of people that I don't recognize, but I'll let you guys listen. Here we go. End the damn wars, that's right. I actually want to let you guys see, hold on. I want you guys to see this, actually. I don't like messing with the camera too much, but I'm gonna mess with the camera just so you can see this, because this is beautiful. This is beautiful. It's a bittersweet, right? Because we don't want to have to do this. We don't want to have to see this. We don't want to have movements like this. Nick Brana was there for Movement for a People's Party. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is absolutely necessary. And salute to these people for doing the necessary work. You know, they're doing the Lord's work. So we'll go ahead and play this. Awesome. I wish I was there. Look at this guy.
That is any kind of increase from the last budget.
Alone we are isolated, we are marginalized. But together, hand in hand, we can send a message that cannot be silenced, cannot be jailed, cannot be divided, and cannot be ignored. End the damn wars!
Look at that. A nice crowd. Nice crowd. Everybody got their shirts on, representing. I love the logo. Max Blumenthal.
And the left is not only silent, large parts of the left are actually supportive of the official agenda.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the new normal. The new normal where a new crisis is being exploited. A pandemic to massively expand presidential power. Anyone who watched Biden's speech 2 days ago should have been terrified by the mandates he's handing out. This is an expansion
of the imperial presidency that liberals used to oppose. And so we see leftists who oppose segregation now supporting segregation as passports. We see liberals who claimed they supported civil rights now supporting massive crackdowns on civil liberties. We see liberals and leftists who say they're opposed to censorship now silent as YouTube censors any discussion of the new normal that's upon us. And we know this won't go well. We know this won't go well because of the lessons of 9/11.
And number two, and this is the
90% civilian casualties. 90% civilian casualties.
I was invited to be an organizer by
Look, Andrew Zigbee.
members for the last 2.5 years since Julian was taken to prison to try to secure his freedom. So I've been honored to be invited to be here and invited to work with these amazing individuals. Today, we're here to talk about not just the wars themselves, but the costs. Not just the trillions of dollars that we spend
I think there's a little
on them,
reflection going on, huh?
not just the millions of
bad.
lives that are sacrificed for the profits of a few, but also the casualty of our country and our civil liberties. There is a man in jail right now in Belmarsh prison who about a year ago was tortured to the point that he could not remember his own name.
Free Julian. Free Assange. End the damn wars.
So what are the other groups?
They were trying to get you and your dad, your mom, and your government to believe stupid things and act in stupid ways. In terrorism, the action is in the reaction of the opposition. Even though he knew it was Al-Qaeda that did it and said we're going to war against terror.
So there we have it, folks. I'm going to go ahead and leave the audio playing so you can hear what's going on.
It's over 100-year-old law. It's 103 years old at this point. It was dissidents. This speech that I'm going to read is actually a violation as it goes today. Not today, but their domain to increase their power, their prestige, and their wealth. They declare was declared by the people. And here.
Damn war! End the damn war! Damn war! End the damn war!
End the damn war.
What for? End damn war!
That sounds like Franco.
End the damn war!
So there we have it, folks. I just wanted you guys to hear a little bit of what was going on. If you guys are interested in watching that video, this one in particular is actually from FN TV, Freedom News TV. So check out FN TV if you want to watch that specific video. But Franco Analysis was also there, and he took a lot of videos there. He went live. And check this out, folks, because we talked about the all the casualties, you know, on the American side. Let's check out the casualties, you know, the Afghan civilian casualties that we often don't talk about. So this is going to be from watson.brown.edu. It's labeled, well, the title is Cost of War, Afghan Civilians. Let's see. The war in Afghanistan continues destroying lives due to the direct consequences of violence and the war-induced breakdown of public health, security, and infrastructure. Civilians have been killed by crossfire, improvised explosive devices, IEDs, assassinations, bombings, and night raids into houses of suspected insurgents. The United States military in 2017 relaxed its rules of engagement for airstrikes in Afghanistan, which resulted in a massive increase in civilian casualties. In 2017, this is during former President Donald Trump's reign. From the last year of the Obama administration to the last full year of recorded, From the last year of the Obama administration to the last full year of recorded data during the Trump administration, the number of civilians killed by U.S.-led airstrikes in Afghanistan increased by 330%. But of course, they're not Americans, so we don't care as much, right? because they don't speak our language, they don't have our culture. Let's continue here, folks. The CIA has armed Afghan militia groups to fight Islamist militants, and these militias are responsible for serious human rights abuses, including extrajudicial killings of civilians. Even in the absence of fighting, exploded ordnance from this war and landmines from previous wars continue to kill, injure, and maim civilians. Fields, roads, and school buildings are contaminated by ordnance, which often harms children as they go about chores like gathering wood. The war has also inflicted invisible wounds. In 2009, the Afghan Ministry of Public Health reported that fully two-thirds of Afghans suffer from mental health problems. Let me read that again. In 2009, the Afghan Ministry of Public Health reported that fully two-thirds of Afghans suffer from mental health problems. I don't know. I would be too if a country continuously bombed my country, and yeah, I can understand how a lot of those people end up getting militarized and turned out when it becomes us versus them mentality. Jesus Christ, I hate reading stuff like this. Prior wars and civil conflict in the country have made Afghan society extremely vulnerable to the to the reverberating effects. Okay, I've never seen that word written out before. Okay, so the reverberating effects of the current war. Those war effects include elevated rates of disease due to lack of clean drinking water, malnutrition, and reduced access to health care. Nearly every factor associated with premature death, poverty, malnutrition, poor sanitation, lack of access to health care, environmental degradation is exacerbated by the current war. About 241,000 people have been killed in the Afghanistan and Pakistan war zone since 2001. 241,000 people have been killed. More than 71,000 of those killed have been civilians. More than 71,000 people have been civilians, have been killed. That's just unbelievable. It's believable, but it's just unfreaking believable. They say key findings as of April 2021, more than 71,000 Afghan and Pakistani civilians are estimated to have died as a direct result of the war. The United States military in 2017 relaxed its full rules of engagement for airstrikes in Afghanistan, which resulted in a massive increase in civilian casualties. Like I said before, an increase of 330%. The CIA has armed and funded Afghan militia groups who have been implicated in grave human rights abuses and killings of civilians. The CIA, so nothing new there. Afghan land is contaminated with unexploded ordnance, bombs, landmines, which kills and injures tens of thousands of Afghans, especially children, as they travel and go about their daily chores. Something that we never have to worry about here in the States. Imagine, can you imagine? No, you can't imagine that. Who can imagine something like that other than the people there? The war has or if you've been to war, you know what I'm saying? Like, the war has exacerbated the effects of poverty, malnutrition, poor sanitation, lack of access to healthcare, environmental degradation of Afghans' health. They even have something called recommendations. Here we go. What do you recommend? The U.S. government and United Nations should ensure that civilian deaths and injuries, both as a direct result of war and as an indirect consequence of violent conflict, are included in public reporting of war deaths. It should also include a tally of children killed. Also, the U.S. should invest significantly more funds in clearing Afghan land of explosive hazards. Yeah, and the U.S. should definitely invest significantly in not killing Afghans and not being in countries we're not supposed to be in for reasons that make absolutely no sense at all. So here we go, folks. There we go. We're going to go ahead and end it right here. Thousands and thousands, overseas have died. It makes our, 3,000 people seem like nothing. But it obviously is something. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives in our country. And because of that, we had this 20-year-long mission to go get Al-Qaeda and then it turned into the Taliban, and then it turned into nation building and the Taliban, then it turned into ISIS, then it turned into ISIS-K, then it turned into all this different stuff. And we find ourselves here today, 20 years later. What do we have to show for it? Thousands of people dead for no reason. The Taliban have taken control of the country of Afghanistan. We're still in other conflicts around the world, so this is just one piece of that murder pie. You know what I'm saying? Like, where do we go from here, folks? Where do we go from here? Let me read some of your comments here. Let me see. Pat Hacker says, let's not talk about targeting of weddings and funerals. Exactly. We never do. But those, of course, were surgical strikes. Weddings and funerals and double tapping and killing of innocent civilians and people that were going to help people that were injured or killed. That's what's happening. So here we go. My phone's getting warm, folks, already. So we're going to go ahead and end this right here, folks. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video. If you haven't liked it already, give me a like. They say ask and you shall receive. Well, I'm asking. Give me the like so we can do something with the YouTube algorithms. Give me a comment, share, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, give me that subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified when I do videos. Until next time, folks, love, peace, and light. Until I get better equipment and I don't have to worry about my phone melting down on me. I'll see you guys next time, okay? Pat Hacker, I'll see you next time. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the love and the support that you showed me. I will be coming back with more material, so don't you fret, all right? With all that being said, folks, love, peace, and light. Remember the fallen. Remember all the heroes. Remember what happened. And remember that we're still fighting. It's not over. All right? So catch you guys on the next video, all right? I'm outro.